The Politics program is brought to you by The Contender, the game of presidential debate. Go ahead on over to thecontender.us. Pre-orders. Again, if you want to get these things in before Christmas, they are literally rolling off the line in Dallas right now, and you got to get your money in before they hit the warehouse if you want to make sure that you have it by the holidays. Thecontender.us. And also by patreon.com/JURY, where you support not only this program, but also my one mic show on Sunday nights. It is patreon.com/JURY if you want to support the program, and we thank everybody who does.
The choice for governor couldn't be more clear. John Bell Edwards, who answered our country's call and served as a ranger in the 82nd Airborne Division. Or David Vitter, who answered a prostitute's call minutes after he skipped a vote honoring 28 soldiers who gave their lives in defense of our freedom. David Vitter chose prostitutes over patriots. Now, the choice is yours.
That is it.
Politics, 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 politics.
Told myself I wasn't going to curse. How long did that go? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Politics program. My name is Justin Young. I am going to be your guide throughout this little adventure. All right, so I played that up front. This is a podcast about the presidential race, okay? We are really only focused on everybody who is currently running for president. However, this does kind of tie in because we got a little bit of intrigue, and I got an amazing email from somebody turning me on to just how filthy, dirty, disgusting, downright grimy the Louisiana governor's race has become. I delved in a little bit, and I think I am still trying to Brillo pad scrub it off me, and boy, is it exactly what I want. And I think we're going to do that. We're going to play a nasty campaign ad as our cold open up front on every episode of the Politics podcast from here on out. However, we do got to tie it back. Why am I playing a negative campaign ad about the Louisiana governor's race? Well, probably because we have a new ripple in that race, because we have one less competitor in the field of 700 for president. Yes, if you were a fan of Bobby, Jindal has a fancy spindle, wraps his clothes up in a bindle, is never going to Wendigo? Wendy? I don't know. He's out. Bobby Jindal's out. This is again another curse of the governors. I feel like we need a creepy sound effect. Let's see if we can find a creepy sound effects, like, just like one of those like old like a haunted house. Let's go haunted house music. Here we go. A 45-minute horror backing track. Let's hear, because again, we are talking about the curse of the governors.
Who are you?
We have we've got so many governors. We've got Scott Walker dead. Rick Perry, dead. Bobby Jindal, dead. When will the slaughter of governors come to an end? They were supposed to be the kings, and yet they found themselves, one by one, corpses on the road to Damascus. Although that might be a politically charged concept now. So let's explain. Here we go. Our little 13-second explainer for why Bobby Jindal is quitting the race. He sucked. You get 11 seconds back because that's really all we need. He wasn't really ever able to define himself. He was never conservative enough to appeal to red meat conservatives. He's from Louisiana as a governor, where compared to being a governor from Florida, being a governor from Ohio, that are big, gigantic states, nobody looks at Louisiana and says, oh man, thank God, we need to get the guy who's really from a put it together, a big, gigantic state with a reputation for systemic corruption like Louisiana. Oh, thank God. Yeah, no, please, come and run the country. Now, here's the one thing he had going for him. He's the son of immigrants. He's an Indian American. And he talks with a Southern accent. So he doesn't have an accent. Good. Great. Theoretically, on paper. Ooh. See, here's the problem. Right now, son of immigrants? Not quite not quite what it might have been in another election. Yeah, now we're kind of like, we have very complicated feelings about immigrants if you're a GOP voter or a candidate trying to appeal to GOP voters, because there's not really one way to slice it. And it's not an automatic slam dunk like it might have been. Right now it's like, okay, I'm for immigrants, but I'm also for a wall because we want immigrants to be legally here. Okay, fine. But also, we want to make sure, now we have the Syrian thing, so we want to kind of make sure that the immigrants are good immigrants and not bad immigrants. And also, okay, if it's an emergency, maybe we can let them in. No, we shouldn't, because if it's an emergency, maybe we'll let in terrorists to live here. I mean, if you're a terrorist and you want to blow up the United States, then you'd probably just fly here or live here technically on visas, legal visas, student visas. Anyway, so, I mean, this is not to say that there's a right political way to think on this or a wrong political way to think on this. This is just to say that it's complicated. And a brown guy jumping up and down screaming, I'm a son of an immigrant, doesn't quite have the problem, or doesn't quite have the slam dunk, the slam dunk way to go about it, like it might have. That's just what it is. Jindal was never that guy. Aside from the fact that, he did make some unforced errors. That initial video, I don't know if y'all saw this initial video that he made of him telling his family that he was going to run for president. He did a candid camera video. Now, the initial thought behind it, I think, is kind of interesting because it humanizes an element that I have always wondered about presidential candidates. Like, why would you put your family through hell? How much does your family have to be bought into your success as a politician to repeatedly be put in the center of a three-ring circus and have strangers, especially in the new media age, have strangers throw rocks at you? If you are the son or daughter of a presidential candidate, there is nothing you can do. Like, you can have a secret Snapchat. People are going to find it. Or someone's going to feel like, oh, wow, I can rat them out because I know what their secret Snapchat is. Anytime you screw up, now all of a sudden, you are not only embarrassed on a scale for which you might have not otherwise. You definitely wouldn't have otherwise. But also, you are a gigantic stinging indictment about your father or mother, because if you can't take care of your home, why can you take care of the country? It's just insane. So he decided to do this candid camera thing where he was explaining to his kids and wife, and who knows how staged it was, that he was running for president. And they were initially kind of hesitant about it. Like, they didn't just say, oh, thank God, the country needs you, Dad. And also, my friends at school, Susie was saying that you need to repeal Obamacare on day one. Like, it wasn't super staged. It was cool, but that also made it creepy. Because, again, politicians are kind of creepy and weird people. Speaking of governors, speaking of creepy and weird people. And again, all of them are. They're all creepy and weird. And also the gigantic hanging stench of death that is enveloping any and all the governors that are running right now. We've got one who's on death watch, George Pataki. Apparently, all the operatives in New Hampshire and in Iowa believe that Ron Paul is the next one to drop out. Along with, so George Pataki and Ron Paul. That they're, according to people in the know, they believe that those are the next two to drop out. In fact, Rand Paul, not Gold Standard. I just need to say that whenever I say Ron Paul. Rand Paul has already begun to let his eyes wander over to his Senate seat. That maybe we can pivot a little bit and start running for Senate instead of running for president. Pataki's gone, but there's still one guy who's a governor who is not ready to give up the fight because, again, this dude on paper has the resume. He's got the bona fides to be an automatic late-stage primary contender in any presidential race. Fine print, except for this one. John Kasich. No word yet on whether he's related to Rico Kasich. Because if this bland ad strategy he's about to roll out works, it will be just what he needed. Look up Rico Kasich if you're under 25. I don't know. I don't know how young the people are listening to this show. Does anybody know Rico Kasich? Just reply me at Justin R. Young and only write Rico Kasich. I want to know how many people know who Rico Kasich is. Anyhow. So, John Kasich is rolling this out. Here's the big story on Politico today, which is why I love doing this show on Fridays, because Politico, for whatever reason, breaks all their stories on Fridays. They write, John Kasich has attacked Donald Trump relentlessly in debates, and now his super PAC is planning on investing $2.5 million in the most aggressive takedown of the poll leader yet on behalf of an increasingly anxious GOP establishment. Now, here again is where, Politico they just get themselves in trouble when they make these kind of leaps in their leads. This is what happened with the Ben Carson story a couple weeks ago. On behalf of an increasingly anxious GOP establishment. Language-wise, you just need to flip that to the delight of an increasingly anxious GOP establishment. And that's fine, because no doubt the GOP establishment would like for Donald Trump to be kind of turned down a little bit. But you can't say on behalf, because on behalf, language-wise, means that other super PACs or GOP establishment will be donating to the Kasich super PAC so they can run this. And they don't really prove that in this in this article. Really, they only say that he's doing what they kind of want them to do, not doing it because they are paying him to do it. So let's get here into the nutcraft. The attack, according to a blueprint shared by Politico, will play out over the next 2 months on radio, TV, mail, and online in New Hampshire. Strategists with the pro-Kasich group called New Day for America. The what? Strategists for the pro-Kasich group called the New Day for America. The New Day for America? Say the budget for this anti-Trump campaign is likely to grow. It's as if they're saying, Kasich supporters, Don't you dare be sour. Clap for John Kasich and feel the power.
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
The offensive comes as some in the GOP are beginning to plot how to combat the real estate mogul and entertainer, who many are convinced would easily deliver the White House to Democrats if he were the nominee. We now go to their strategery. In launching the campaign, the pro-Kasich group says it will be responding to money players who are eager to take Trump's campaign down. They will not focus on his lack of experience, but rather what an ineffectual leader he has been in his various business situations. Raise your unicorn horns, everybody, because John Kasich is indeed promising that Kasich rocks. Kasich rocks. Everybody now. Kasich rocks. Kasich rocks. This will probably fail. I mean, like I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, because this seems to be the stages of grief for a falling star in the GOP primary, right? It starts out as have your objective and have it judged by the populace, and some do better or worse, and then eventually you get into making a hard right, or you try to outflank the Trumps and Carsons, and then finally you just end up by insulting Donald Trump. Because, by the way, Donald Trump has been insulting you the entire time. He has not cared. He has just been destroying you. And he has been destroying John Kasich today on Twitter, saying that John Kasich should be focusing his money on his failing campaign and not attacking Donald Trump. He's also said that John Kasich would be the target of his own negative ads if anybody knew who John Kasich the hell was. Because we're back here, folks. Everybody, including me, thought that Trump would be on a slow deceleration because he had done bad in the debates. He was saying the exact same things over and over again. He has appeared increasingly erratic in his stump speeches. Because, again, everybody should and does appear increasingly erratic during stump speeches. Like, it's really, really hard to talk in front of people every single day, to shake hands and make friends with people every single day. If you do that every single day, eventually your sanity starts to go. So I don't think that it necessarily is speaking to Trump's inherent insanity. It just can't help but happen, and it is exacerbated in the fact that if you don't really have a stump speech like Trump doesn't, and he just speaks extemporaneously, then you are just going to show the signs of things being a little frayed just that much easier. And that's what Trump has done. But yet, his polls continue to stabilize, and especially in situations like Iowa and New Hampshire, you've seen the insurgents against him, they've started to fade. Ben Carson started to fade a little bit in Iowa. And I thought Ben Carson had the perfect way. Last week, we talked about Donald Trump's crazy-ass stump speech. I thought Ben Carson came back with an email blast that said, we need to pray for Donald. Donald has borne false witness against Ben Carson, which we all know is a sin, but love the sinner, hate the sin. Ben Carson, 2016. I thought that was perfect, because the one place where Donald Trump does have a legitimate weak spot is in evangelicals. Because evangelical voters are a little touchy. Like they want everything needs to be just right. Like all their other options kind of got to be gone before they start settling and moderating. In general. Like it took them a while to warm up to Mitt Romney. And yet, Trump is doing very well with them. Ben Carson's doing better. I thought that was the way. And maybe we'll see it in the next few polls in Iowa. But, like, I thought that was going to be one of those things that eventually the super evangelical voter would look at Donald Trump and look at Ben Carson and say, I just like Ben Carson more. I want Ben Carson to win Iowa. And yet, I did find this one thing. Also, by the way, if you subscribe to this feed, then you got in your feed earlier this week a full and complete running commentary for Ben Carson's biopic, Gifted Hands, created in 2005, starring Cuba Gooding Jr. Real quick review. It's actually pretty good. It's not bad. It's really well told. Symbolism's well done. If anything, the two scenes that are now becoming famous because they are passages in his book where he came after his mom with a hammer and stabbed his friend with a knife only to have it deflect off of his belt buckle and have the blade snap in half, are really random and really out of place. Like, he seems like a fairly normal kid, and then, like, he kind of starts falling in with the wrong crowd. And then he's got these two violent incidents. He starts praying. And then, 5 years later, he goes to college and his temper's never a problem again. Thematically, it's never really addressed again. It's like one of those things where everybody always talks about the Iron Man run, A Demon in a Bottle, like it's super great. And it's really good. But it's very much of its era. Like, for those of you who don't know, Iron Man, of course, now a big Marvel Cinematic Universe character. He, in this comic book series, becomes a drunk, is drinking too much, is screwing up, is not saving the day like he shoulda. And then he eventually just kind of sweats a lot and gets over his alcoholism. Like, alcoholism conquered because he sweated a lot. He's just kind of like looking in the mirror like, if I sweat a lot, alcoholism's done. It's like that one season of Mad Men where Don Draper's alcoholism was really getting out of control, so he just swam laps, and then his alcoholism wasn't so much of a problem anymore. Like, that's kind of what it was in the Ben Carson story movie. He just kind of was like, mama, I'm going to hit you in the head with a hammer. And his brother's like, no! Like, literally the next scene. I'm whittling a stick with my knife. And then his friend's like, hey, man, why are you listening to classical music? Classical music sucks. Here's doo-wop. Like, boo-wop, boo-wop, boo-wop. And he's like, stop being like that. Classical music's awesome. And then he turns it again. And he's like, I'm stabbing you. It hits his belt buckle. The knife, by the way, and I don't know if this is correct in the Gifted Hands book, but the knife in the movie Gifted Hands is a new knife that Ben Carson buys from what we are to assume is either a gang member or a drug dealer, somebody shady standing in an alley who's accepting a cash transaction for a physical product. And the knife snaps in half, like the blade itself. It doesn't come out from like the bolt or whatever that's like holding. It's a switchblade, and that's the other thing. Initially, I thought it was like a straight blade, and you know that kind of made sense to me. A straight blade, you know, maybe it hits the wrong way, it snaps where the handle meets the blade. No. It's a switchblade, and it snaps in half. The blade itself, after showing like no sign of structural problems, which is a little weird. And I don't know how much of an artistic license that was. I don't know if they were trying to show any symbolism. It never came back because at the end, he's got to operate on these kids with like, you know, this tremendously difficult brain surgery. And it's not like, you know, he reaches in with the scalpel and the scalpel breaks in half at the blade. And he's like, damn these gifted hands. But yeah, so anyway, that's for free. That's in your feed right now. Go ahead and check out the Ben Carson Gifted Hands running commentary. And it was brought to my attention that this podcast is not yet on Stitcher. It will be on Stitcher next week. We've got America's favorite political segment coming up right after this. But before that, we are going to go ahead and take a look at something. Here's one of the most fun parts of having Donald Trump in this race is that we can just pull all these other Donald Trump clips. And they're all super funny now because he's like even more relevant than he was back then. So let's go ahead and take a look. This is a fun little Donald Trump clip that I wound up just finding and doing research here today. We'll be right back with the pole dance.
I've got some business idea that I just want to tell you about, and I'll be a fool if...
Very quickly.
What is the most popular thing in the world?
Music.
No.
Tell me.
Ice cream.
Okay.
Everyone has it. And what is the problem with ice cream?
I have no idea.
It drips.
Okay.
So my idea is what?
To make a drip-proof ice cream.
No. Oh, that's a fucking brilliant idea, this. All right, whatever. You ain't going to come out with that, though.
No, I promise you I won't.
Well, my idea is to come out with just like these ice cream gloves that make the ice cream not go on your hands and make it all well sticky. And also keep your hands warm when you was eating the ice cream.
Okay.
Is you win or is you win?
Okay, well, it sounds like a good idea, and I hope you make a lot of money. Good luck, folks. It's been nice seeing you. You take care of yourself, okay?
Well, is you going to be in on that?
Well, it sounds like an interesting...
We've got like P. Diddy is going to be in it.
Good.
Oh, it's Friday, folks. So you better believe that we are strapping up, getting suited and booted. We are heading to the club because it is time for the November 20th.
Get on the floor if you got that
Pole dance! This pole dance comes to you from FAU, surveying 355 likely Florida Republican voters on the days of November 15th and 16th with a 5.6% margin of error. Well, folks, he used to be on top, but now he's down and dirty. It's your former governor, Jeb Bush, at 8.9%. Next up to the stage, just like the movie Ted, he's not all that funny and yet oddly popular. It's Ted Cruz at 10%. In third place, let's get a big round of applause. He's more than willing to play doctor with you. Ben Carson's at 15%. And now, to our main stage. Get out, you ones, folks. They all scream Marco when he shows them his polo. It's Marco Rubio with 18%. And folks, your headliner for the evening. If he screams like this on stage, ladies, imagine what he's like in the bedroom. It's Donald with 36%. And that wraps up our pole dance. Again, folks, if you would like to write into this show, it is Justin Robert Young at gmail.com. Please go ahead and put Politicsx in the subject line. Craig writes, we got a lot of baby Hitler email. So I picked the two that represented them the best. Craig writes, I was listening to the last PX3 podcast, and a thought occurred to me. Even if you killed baby Hitler, wouldn't somebody else with a similar agenda pop up to fill the power vacuum in Germany after World War I? What do you think? Again, there are a million questions that we can have about killing baby Hitler, right? There's a reason why it's a time traveler's conundrum. But, and it is maybe the most consistent gotcha question that we have had this cycle, right? But that's not what Jeb Bush was asking. or was asked, right? That's not what any of these people are asked, or at least that's not how they took it. So we can go ahead and make a point about it. We can say, hey, you answer the baby Hitler question wrong. But really, the only way to answer the baby Hitler question wrong is to answer the baby Hitler question. That really is probably the one thing. I'm coming around on the idea that they just shouldn't have asked it. If anybody is, or they shouldn't have answered it. If anybody is answering the baby Hitler question, you have lost. You're done. That's it. It's a gotcha question. Let's get done with the baby Hitler. So, Scale also writes about baby Hitler. Dear Mr. Robert Young, in the recent Politics podcast, you brought up the would you kill baby Hitler question that was asked to Sir Jeb and the others. I know that you specifically said it's a hypothetical scenario with only two possible answers, and the question exists to highlight whether somebody is a for greater good at all costs kind of person. But I can't leave it like that. I'm sorry. It's one of the big questions that I've thought about over the years, and I have the correct answer. You could say it's the final solution to the kill Hitler question. I've run the numbers, dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's, and I have the answer. That question is, help Hitler. What followed was about 700 words. This is a lesson to anybody who wants to write 1,000-word emails to me. I will read them. I will like them. I'll probably respond to you. However, I can't read 1,000-word emails on the show. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip to the parts that I'm going to skip to other random parts in the emails just so everybody understands what happens when long emails get sent and I am forced to edit them. He then went on to say, just dust them off and say, don't worry, Adolf, you'll be okay. And then say, you want to know what, Adolf? This shows a lot of promise. Well done. Also, he wrote, when it came to German politics and propaganda, Hitler was a Jesus. Hitler was not a Jesus, but a genius. I says, I know that sounds crazy, and I apologize to anyone I've offended. So again, his suggestion was to help Hitler, dust him off and say, you'll be okay, Adolf. Say, you know, Adolf, you show a lot of promise. And then he went on to point out that Hitler was a genius in terms of German politics and propaganda. So there we go. That's what happens when you write emails that I have to edit. Just give me succinct emails. Give me just self-edit, folks, because otherwise you're going to be on here praising Hitler. That's just the way that it goes. I can't read all these things. If you want to learn from Scale's example, email justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. You can buy The Contender at thecontender.us. And the music has been provided by Velasco and Trop Killers. Of course, you can follow me at Justin R. Young every single place that you might need to find a social media platform. The Instagrams, the Snapchats. You can find me on the Twitters. You can find me on the Facebooks by searching Justin Robert Young. Now, this is normally where we stop, but I'll tell you what, I'm looking at my clock here. I feel like we got another segment in us. So let's go ahead and talk about real quick. I know I haven't mentioned the Democratic National Committee debate. So let's go ahead and get into the debate between Martin O'Malley, Hillary Clinton, and Bernie Sanders. Let's go to some live footage or some live sound effects, sound from that debate. That was a great point. You know, I really feel like Martin O'Malley is really differentiating himself in a shortened field, and maybe Biden getting out of the race was the best thing that could have happened to him. But now, let's go to what Hillary Clinton said in response to that. You know, I really feel like she is defining herself as a leader and a mature version of the caricature that everybody has already pegged her into. She is really smart to tailor her message to women, which seems to be paying off if you follow some of the polls in the key states that she's going to need to bring home. But meanwhile, we can also focus on Bernie Sanders. Could he rekindle his insurgent spirit by taking it to the frontrunner, Hillary Clinton? Man, Electrifying stuff from Colonel Sanders. This is really going to be a barn burner, folks. Let's find out what some of the analysts thought of the action. Oh, James Carville, what a crazy character you are. How about you, Donna Brazil? Oh, man. Democratic primary politics. The fever is here. Catch it.
Politics, 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 politics.
Folks, that about wraps it up. Thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you so much for supporting The Contender. Head to the Patreon if you want to give us more. We'll talk to you next week.
Politics, yes.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
See you, YouTube.